Tonight on the Black Channel, Biden is out. No telling who's going to be in now. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, earlier this afternoon, depending on where you were, it might have been morning, Joe Biden put up a post on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, still known as Twitter, holding up a letter announcing that he was going to discontinue his re-election campaign. He will not be stepping down as president. He is not going to resign as president, but that he intends to serve out the remainder of his term, while the Democrats use their convention for the purposes of selecting who they would like their nominee to be. I have a number of different things to go over here. By the way, I've had my suspicions, no specific predictions. I had my suspicions. The biggest domino that fell, as far as I was concerned, was last week or so. I'm going to go back and go check the exact date on that. The biggest domino that fell, as far as I was concerned, was when I had said the Moneymen, if you see the Moneymen start to back off, when they do that, now you're going to be in trouble. Biden would have everything that he needs. You can still muscle your way through. You can still elbow your way through. You can still be ugly, but you can still muscle your way in if you got the Moneymen behind you. All I'm going to say is right now, a lot of folks are playing a high-stakes game of poker. They really, really are. Biden, it was going to be impossible to move him because you would have to force him to move. I have some clips in particular I want to play. I always said it will be impossible to move him unless the Moneymen pull out. And you'll notice I was consistent about that Biden isn't going to go anywhere. And then I saw Clooney sit up here, and when Clooney jumped up publicly, and I'm going to play for you all some clips that reinforce what I was saying, which is, boy, this dude, you got to go all in. If you're going to do something like this, you got to go all in. So, first of all, I'm not even sure where to begin with this, but we can start, I guess. Let me go ahead and start with what I said. Let's go ahead and start there. All right, the first clip I want to play for you here is explaining to folks the difference. It's not like in black society when you're hearing about celebrities and things. It's not like that. It's different outside black society. So what we're going to do, I'm going to play for you some of the clips here, some sound clips, what I said just the last couple of weeks to help tie this together for you here. And you think you going to bother him now? You think you're going to bother him now? Now let me introduce to you all another more frightening specter. No, you shouldn't be giving the celebrities a chance to speak. But over there in white society, it's a little different. The reason why it's a little different over there is because, you see, these celebrities become specialists at passing the hat. These celebrities become specialists at gaining funds. These celebrities become specialists at getting money together, passing the bag. They don't do like your black celebrities and just show up for an award show, take a few photos, and go home. These people are talking to folk 24 hours a day, all day, every day, all year. And by the time election season rolls around, they basically gather together all their rich friends, their celebrity friends, their resourceful friends. They get all of them together, and then they go ahead and get the money moving. That's not, you can't just get any old body to do that, folks. Makes a big difference. Makes a huge difference. These are people that you're not going to be able to ignore. Makes a tremendous difference. Tremendous difference. When that happens, that makes a huge difference. And that's what I was saying then. Up until that point, Biden was just about invincible there. Just about invincible. That is to say, not to say that he was popular, certainly not to say that he was going to win. What I'm saying is you could not force the issue until he did that. Let's go back a little bit further, because I've been saying for a while what I was looking at. If you'll remember, during that same program, I had a caller who called up. She was saying some things, and then I knew that if something was going to happen this summer before the convention, I'm like, you got to do this before the convention, although that's going to be challenging too, to walk that backwards. So I used it, and I know I went on for a little while when I talked to her, but I wanted to use that as an opportunity to try to thread together as many thoughts as I could and as many projections as I could, because I know I only have one program to do it, or just I want to do it all in one program so the stuff's not just spread all over the place, which is impossible to do, but I attempted it anyway. What were my first clues that the party had turned on Biden? My clue was not this year. My clue was earlier this year, and actually the tail end of last year. You'll remember I said this to her during that program. To get information on, we may never know what happened here. All I can tell you is I've been saying for a while, I knew there was a problem with Jerome Powell. I knew there was a problem when the Fed chairman said at the beginning of the year, when all of us, everybody, financial analysts, remember I used to be a car dealer, so I watched these things about interest rates. At the end of 2023, it was very clear what was supposed to happen. First quarter of 2024 stuns everybody, and Jerome Powell says, yeah, we're going to leave rates where they are. And then he implies very clearly that, and they will we're not going to take any action on interest rates probably through the end of the year. And I'm like, your candidate can't leave these interest rates where they are through the end of the year. He needs you to start lowering them, because what you're telling him is that prices will remain exactly where they are. Folks are already unhappy with him primarily because of that. So his own federal chairman is saying, we're going to. So his chairman, I'm going to go back and reload that. His chairman of his Federal Reserve was sitting up here saying, yeah, not so sure we're going to make that. Not so sure. When you have your chairman of your reserve sitting up here saying, by the way, I'm going to leave the interest rates where they are. You're talking about a member of the cabinet who is not subject to any type of intimidation because you can't get rid of him. So he's not subject to anything. He's unelected and he's put in this position, and you just got to live with him until he's done doing whatever he's going to do. And if he decides to leave those interest rates where they are, in a time and point and place where the people are unhappy about this, you're the president, and he's going to just leave the interest rates where they are. He's making the decision, but you are going to be the one who catches hell. when all of us, everybody, financial analysts, remember, I used to be a car dealer, so I watched these things about interest rates. At the end of 2023, it was very clear what was supposed to happen. First quarter of 2024 stuns everybody, and Jerome Powell says, yeah, we're going to leave rates where they are. And then he implies very clearly that, and they will stay, we're not going to take any action on interest rates probably through the end of the year. And I'm like, your candidate can't leave these interest rates where they are through the end of the year. He needs you to start lowering them, because what you're telling him is that prices will remain exactly where they are. Folks are already unhappy with him primarily because of that. So his own federal chairman is saying, we're going to leave interest rates where they are. Inflation's too high. We're just going to leave it where it is. And I'm like, that's a death sentence. Every election is primarily about, it's the economy, stupid. High interest rates, highest interest rates since what, Jimmy Carter? This is a death sentence for your candidate. And he's supposed to have the inside track to Powell to tell him, yeah, you need to ease off on them rates. First quarter of 2024, start backing off them rates. Just like I did with the pandemic, tell everybody that everything's fine. Doesn't matter what the prices are. Tell them everything's fine. And then I can go ahead and coast to re-election. And that's not what his federal chairman has done. Now, we all know who really runs things. The folks with the money, the folks with the banks, the folks with the financial institutions, the big money movers. And if they've made a decision, yeah, oh boy, you bad for business. You bad for business, you got to go. Next thing you know, your Federal Reserve chairman is doing things that are very disadvantageous for your presidency. That's the kind of thing that made me think there's folks behind the scenes like, yeah, he got to go. And we're not going to replace him with Harris. I've been saying that for months. And I've been saying, wow, the biggest sign that I saw was that the Federal Reserve chairman is supposed to do things that help the president who put him where he is. And yet now you have a chairman who does something absolutely against his candidate's interests. I'm like, are you trying to get him kicked out of office? Are you trying to prevent him from getting reelected? And that's what I said before. Wow, there's folks behind the scenes. They are undermining him. Whether they'll succeed or not, time will tell, but you can't mistake what they're doing. It's not like he can speak against his chairman. He can't speak against him. So folks behind the scenes, people who are not elected, but particularly the Moneymen, they started going at him, and yeah, there it goes. So the concrete signs were not pointing in positive directions. That's for certain. Well, Jason, if things were looking bad for him there, you know what? Let me not play that one. Let's go to last night. Let's go to last night's program. I want to play for you all what I said on last night's program. I want to thread all these together because there are going to be some other clips that I'll play for you here in a minute. Remember what I was reading to you, the article I chose these articles deliberately, and I chose a specific article that I read to you all last night. What is their motivation for doing it? I'll tell you what I think the motivation is. I'll tell you what the motivation is. There are folks in the party who see an opportunity for life after Biden, and they are staking out their claims now. You take a look at that California constituency. You take a look at that California contingency. I see entirely too many people out of California speaking out openly. And I think that California's delegation believes that if they knock off Biden in 2024, and the reason you got to knock him off is because they don't want Kamala to be able to run again in 2028. So what they want to do is clear the lane. So that's what I see happening now. They want to clear the lane for California. Mark my words, we'll see if I'm correct about it. if they succeed. If they do remove Biden, then they're trying to clear the lane for Gavin Newsom. But Gavin can't do it by himself. So if he's recruited the rest of the California flunkies to come help him, that's what it'll be. Okay. That's Jason Black talking. That's me speaking. Could go any old kind of way from there. It certainly could do that. So let's go ahead and hop on over here to some of your career people. Megyn Kelly was on here earlier today. She was talking to Mark Halperin, and she was asking him what happened. Because we know what Biden and his company were saying just yesterday. So what happened? Well, listen to Washington, D.C. insider Mark Halperin. Listen to what he said.
Condition, and then there was the announcement of COVID. But what did it, Mark?
Well, I'm still reporting that out. I think the money was a big issue. I think Nancy Pelosi made it clear there'd be no money.
Well, wonder who said that? Wonder who was saying that the whole time. I wonder where we heard that before. Okay, so he says, well, first thing he says, by the way, the first thing is money, and it was Nancy Pelosi who told Biden, we're turning off the money spigot. There won't be any more money. Got together with the folks out in California, their celebrity friends and big donors. I named a few of them last night. Yeah, the folks out in California got together and ganged up on the guy from Delaware. The California delegation got together, got the Moneymen together, and they ganged up on him and told him, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the real easy way. And if you will not step down, we will just strangle you of funding. And then it gets real ugly. Although I also suspect they did something else, and I mentioned this also. I'm going to come back to it.
Well, I'm still reporting that out. I think the money was a big issue. I think Nancy Pelosi made it clear there'd be no money for this campaign. And you can't run a presidential campaign with no money. You can run with less on the other side, but not with no money. That was part of it. And part of it was the data, although his campaign liked to downplay how badly his position had deteriorated. It had deteriorated in their own polling quite a bit, I'm told. And then the Democrats, he was going to potentially drag down an electoral college wipeout. And remember.
And all of that is really just spin. The bottom line is California has gotten together and decided that in the Republican Party today is basically being run out of New York and, well, Trump, I guess you can call it Trump, New York, but Texas. Texas is essentially running the Republican Party today. And California is now saying that they want to run the Democrat Party now. That they're not waiting. Of course, you would obviously say, well, Jason, Kamala is from California. So what does that mean there? Because, by the way, isn't Kamala also from California? Well, yeah, she is. The only question is she the right kind of candidate from California? Because they don't really want another non-white person sitting in that seat. The only reason they put Obama there was so they could say, see, you can't call us racist. Now give us white folk the keys back. And away we go. To all of the Biden butt kissers who want to sit up here and talk about they're going to have to give it to Kamala because you can't overlook a black woman, just understand the suspected white supremacists of the Democrat Party, they consider you to be simple-minded enough that they know you just going to fall in line, especially if they give you no other choice. Especially if they don't give you any other choice. Not a great look for you. Not a good look. So I was talking about this last night. There's a reason why I focused in on it last night. I'm like, by the way, those numbers are going up. The numbers of people supporting you are going the number of people against you is going up, and the amount of money you're getting is going down. In the chat room, King Elijah X, I'm going to have you call up here in just a few moments, so stick around. Obviously, he missed apparently the entire first 20 minutes of the program today. So go ahead and let me go ahead and set his channel page to the side so we can make sure about that. Very glad that you've weighed in on that. Very glad you've chosen to weigh in on that. So I'm definitely want to make sure that we get you on so that you can grant everyone else with your keen insights. Among the other things that we observed, Nancy Pelosi pulling the money. Then there was also the next shoe that would drop. And here was the next shoe that was coming to drop down on them. Because now when you take a look at that, it's like, okay, if they're going to slide the knife between his ribs, who's going to be holding it? And that's when you start trying to find out here, who are the names? Now, who's putting things out there going forward? Well, here's some of what you're hearing.
It's because she doesn't have the age thing, but this is not a great process. It's going to smell rotten to a lot of people, but they did it to themselves because they believed, as Emily was saying, they believe in the power of their own lives. And thank God, at least there's some limit to what they can get away with.
Now we're getting reaction pouring in. Bill and Hillary Clinton, per the New York Times, endorsed Kamala Harris, writing in a statement that they would do, quote, whatever we can to support her. President Obama not going that far, praising Biden, his former VP, in a statement, but does not endorse Harris, appears to endorse, quote, a process for picking someone. Quote, I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. But here's the question.
Well, so Bill and Hillary Clinton, and y'all remember, I also mentioned this as well during that program about George Clooney and the celebrity civil war, that Biden was attempting to put together his own political machine. In the 90s, the Democrat political machine was run by the Clintons. Obama comes along in the mid-2000s and defeats the Clinton political machine and builds his own. And he's essentially been the kingmaker and the puppeteer behind the scenes, the major power broker ever since. But now it's become clear that there's always been some friction between Biden and Obama. Politically, they work well together, but Biden really wants to run things, and Obama's running things from behind the scenes. He's really the one pulling the strings. And if Biden wants to run the thing, you're going to have to be able to defeat Obama, and that's going to be very, very difficult. So the Clintons, who lost to Obama, what do you know? They're backing Kamala Harris. However, the person who said that Biden needs to step down, Nancy Pelosi, and the California delegation, well, Obama seems to have thrown in his hat with them to the extent of telling Biden he needs to get out of the race. Okay. Nancy Pelosi seems to have put some support behind Kamala Harris. She seems to have done that. However, I would advise people not to jump to any conclusions in that regard, because with that being the case right there, that could be difficult. That could be difficult. That could be hard. I want to go ahead and show you all this right quick. They've made some statements that folks might attempt to interpret a certain way. But then again, that's what it's intended to do, is to lead you to make assumptions and interpret things a certain way. But if you actually go and take a look at what folks are actually saying, you see something different. This here from the Hill, as of a few hours ago. Well, Pelosi and Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries, stopped short of backing Harris as the 2024 nominee. Well, so that California constituency that I was talking about last night, when I said that those are the ones ganging up, and I'm saying, boy, I sure do see a lot of it's a one or two representatives from one or two other states, but pretty much everybody in California is saying that Biden needs to step down. I'm like, oh, California. Nancy Pelosi has made the phone calls where she is at her strongest in California. She's gotten all of them on code. And so she's gotten the whole state of California to gang up on him. And Barack Obama has gone along with it. And what this means is that they intend to bring about an end to the Biden era. And Kamala Harris is a member of the Biden era. And they are here to close that out. So that math is adding up exactly the way it would have to if the equation is slanted in the direction I was saying. Jason, what took so long? Because they were doing a lot of big talking over there in the Biden camp just yesterday. Why news outlets were saying he was going to bow out this weekend. And just yesterday, he was saying, I will see you on the campaign trail next week. So what happened? What went wrong? It's not that anything went wrong. It was all part of the plan. Well, Jason, if you're saying that, then how long have you known that? Well, if you remember the program I talked about, this celebrity civil war, remember I said this?
Take that sit down for Barack to run that year, and he came up with some, my son died, but now you got Parkinson's, you don't want to sit down, or dementia, whatever. So I believe he just is making a play because he really don't have nothing to lose, everything to gain. So just your
there's a third category there. There's a third. I mean, you're absolutely correct. He has nothing to lose. If he gets out, he loses all of his leverage. There is a third train of thought among people that Biden is really holding out because basically this is a stick up. He's sticking up the Democratic Party and all the donors and everybody. So they're going to have to cake him off and him and his family be set because he knows his son is too much of a screw up to make it on his own. So y'all going to have to give us a big ass bag to get me out of here. So there's a third train of thought among people. That's what this is also about.
So what do you know? He holds strong. He's telling everybody what's not going to occur. He's telling everyone that. And the next thing you know, all in one day, well, that's politically impossible unless he was holding out for a big enough bag. Why, if I got to step down and we got to do all this stuff here, I got to hold out for a big enough bag if we're going to make that happen. Going to have to be a whole lot more than that. Can't just be any old thing. It's going to have to be a whole lot more than that. So if you're hanging out for a big enough bag, that's what's got to occur. So he's going to hold strong. He's going to hold strong. If they're going to want me out, they're going to have to throw some major paper on that because I don't have the connections or the insights or the gravitas or the popularity that Obama has, and my son is a world-class goof off. So if I got to bow out, y'all going to have to break it off major. I'm going to need a bunch of things involved in that in order for that to work. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and pin the Zoom link here to the top of the chat. We've been having major issues here out of Blog Talk. We've been having major issues there. So for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to be using that since we've been having so many issues. So, Mr. whatever his name is, Akaj King Elijah X, he's got a couple of minutes here, so he can go ahead and jump on Zoom for us here. Matter of fact, what we're going to do here is to make sure that he stays focused. We're going to make sure that he refrains from commenting in the chat room here. Everything else that he's going to say will be on Zoom. So he's got about 2 minutes to go ahead and join us for that. If he doesn't, we will just assume that he is trolling and he can go on a permanent vacation there. So that can happen as well. Some folks in the chat room there, they're talking about Van Jones. Yep. Oh, don't worry, I'm on top of it. And we're talking, CNN got there with Van Jones. See Van Jones' emotional reaction to Biden's withdrawal. So he actually said some interesting things in here. Van Jones actually says some interesting things in here that perfectly encapsulate why it is that these political party Negroes cannot, for any reason whatsoever, be trusted. He actually says some things in there that make that real clear. By the way, fair use, CNN, fair use on your ass.
Democratic Party is a family. At the end of the day, this is a family matter. You know, Joe Biden's body may not be as strong as it used to be. His language skills may not be as sharp as they used to be. His heart is as big as ever. His heart is as big and as true and as strong. And this is the difference between a politician and a leader. He made a selfless decision, and people are heartbroken. Even people who are pushing for this to happen. It's kind of like when your grandpa, you got to take the keys, and everybody, you got to take his keys, you got to take his keys, you got to, and he's fighting, and everybody's so frustrated, and then you finally get the keys back, and then you just cry. Because this is somebody that you love. This is somebody that you care about. This is somebody who was there for you. This is somebody you wouldn't be here without him. And you have to take something from him. Now, this is not, look, this politics is politics. What?
There goes Van, y'all. It's just, they go grab these little soft, emotional, dramatic Negroes.
Politics. But this is a human moment for one of the great humans in America. This is a huge moment for him, for his family, for all of us who love him, for all of us who wanted him to get across the finish line. But if you're a young person watching this is leadership. This is patriotism. This is what it means to put the country first and put the party first and put the cause first. When your arm gets tired, you let somebody else finish pitching the game. That's what Joe Biden has done, and he's done that for all of us. And so I just want to say, I don't know who's going to be the VP, the non-VP. I don't know anything about politics. I just know that I love this man. I care about this man. It was painful every day to sit up here and talk about him like he's just some problem for the party. Wait till we get to the convention. You're going to see people crying, standing, screaming, cheering. He may not get a chance to talk for 10 minutes. We finally get a chance to put our arm around this guy.
Boy, Van, I'm trying to remember the last pro-black person that Van Jones ever spoke like this about. Do y'all think, can you find the fella here who's their favorite?
He did the right thing for this country. He did the right thing for this party. All of us are going to be in this situation someday, and I hope that we take a moment to honor this man and to love this man. I love Joe Biden. I appreciate what he's done, and a lot of people are heartbroken today. Even if it's the right thing, it's still just horrible.
Well, and Van, I mean, on...
Boy, I'm glad to see Van is, Van's found his feelings. Then again, he's always been in touch with his feelings.
That point, which is a great point that I think resonates with a lot of people, of the personal nature of a decision like this. We often talk about things in a harsh political lens of who's going to fare better, what this looks like. I mean, I also have to imagine what it's been like the last 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks since that debate, to see, what the reporting has been behind the scenes of Democrats who wanted him to get out. On Friday night, the reporting was that he was seething over what he has witnessed, and this decision to be made.
But have we all gone through this with our own family members? Like, yeah, he's hurt, he's pissed. A lot of us wouldn't have careers. I wouldn't have a career without Joe Biden. Joe Biden picked me out of the puppy pile. He's the person that everybody says you work for Barack Obama. No, I worked for Joe Biden when I was in the administration. I was on his middle class task force. All of us have.
Well, now that right there was what I wanted you all to hear. Now, isn't that interesting? Do you understand that they have gained his eternal allegiance for that? Because I want you all to know that there, in Van Jones' mind, there is a direct pathway from wherever he started to going with Joe Biden, to being selected there, to being on CNN, to getting that $100 million bag from Jeff Bezos for reasons that we still have not been appraised of or made aware of. You damn right Van Jones is going to sit up here and tap dance for them till the day they bury him. He don't give a damn what you and me don't get. Those are our problems. He got his. And Joe Biden and the crew, that's the reason that he's got his. And he's first and foremost most concerned about having his. So don't you understand that whether it's him, Roland Martin, Tom Joyner, we can go down the list. There's a reason why we can't get these niggas to do anything for us. There's a reason for that. They have been bought and paid for over the course of not years, but decades. Not years, decades. And then when they cap that off with a $100 million bag, that's it. Forget about it. He's bought and paid for the rest of his life. That's a wrap. He's bought and paid for the remainder of his days. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I want y'all to understand something. He sold his soul before Jeff Bezos ever showed up. Damn! Please understand, he didn't get the $100 million bag and sell his soul. He sold his soul and got the $100 million bag way before Jeff Bezos ever showed up. People, he been gone for decades now, way before them men ever showed up. He's been paid off way before now. And what I'm telling you is that's because niggas come cheap. Especially when it comes to politics, niggas come cheap. They come so cheap. And that's why Van is sitting there now. So I wanted to play that for you all. For those of you who are talking about Van Jones crying on TV, this is way ahead of you. Way ahead of you. By the way, I don't see Mr. King Elijah anywhere. So, haven't seen him around here yet. So, maybe he'll just take the rest of the life off. Who knows? In the meantime here, what we're going to do, because as always, you all might disagree. Therefore, the link for the Zoom is at the top of the chat room there. You are more than invited to go ahead and click on that for us here. Also, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. To my man, Mr. Rich Bird, thank you very much, sir, for your support as always. Mr. Collington in the chat room there as well. We got some new channel members, Logic Before Emotion, Mr. Gilroy, Mr. Collins, and everyone else here tonight. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, if you want to join us on Zoom, that will be available for you here as well. That and a few more things I want to show you all because it's been a very busy day in that regard. I have a number of things I've been put together, but that'll be available to you as well. This is the Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess, and I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One, and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black first. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spirit-of-1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And we're going to go ahead and open up the Zoom for you all here tonight. Before I do that, let me go ahead and show a couple of other things here, because there is trouble on the horizon. There's trouble on the horizon, especially if you are Kamala Harris. There are issues. There are issues. No, I don't think she sees that, or at least she probably does already. Well, Jason, what kind of issues? Well, things like this. You go on Twitter and the Associated Press, who, by the way, has just been living in denial, kissing Biden's boots the whole time. That didn't age very well at all. Kamala Harris, endorsed by Biden, could become the first woman and second black person to be president. And that's interesting because when you sit up here and play all these other channels, they're calling her black and Asian. How can you be black and Asian? Just let her be Asian. We don't play that game. It's not about being, she doesn't need to be black and Asian. She just needs to go ahead and be Asian. We are not at all the least bit interested in fighting with her over anything. Once you say you black and Asian, you biracial, you mixed, no. You're mixed with black and what? Well, I'm black and Asian. Go be Asian. Well, I'm black and Latino. Go and be Latino. When you do that, you just go on over there. You just go ahead. There's no way, don't deceive yourself into believing that we're ever going to compete with anything else you got going on. If you are black and, no, you're just and whatever comes after and. That's where you go. So you go be that. So all the folks thinking that she's going to attract the black vote, she didn't have it in 2020, and she's only done great work losing it since then, so forget about it. The Los Angeles Times, let me tell you, there's a whole bunch of folks out there who are desperate as they can be. A Harris-Trump contest would present a stark contrast between Harris, 59, black, Asian, and the first woman to serve as vice president. Black, Asian. So they didn't get the memo, y'all. They did not get the memo. They didn't get the notice. They are unaware of it. They don't know the lay of the land. They haven't paid attention to it at all. So they're talking about black and Asian, and we're not on the same time that they're on right there. So don't know who she thinks her constituency is. These folks here in California, tone deaf, in California, tone deaf. Then you got some other folks who are dead-enders out there. President Biden's record includes legislation that will rebuild the country in ways that will likely be seen over the next dozen years, even if voters did not immediately appreciate it. What? Okay, talk about being salty.
Auntie, chill!
So the Associated Press realizes they're about to be in the wilderness for the next 4 years at least, and it will be very unpleasant. So they're blaming the voters. They're already blaming the voters and saying, well, it's your fault for, quote, not appreciating it. So if you had been more appreciating, things would have gone different. Not that it's their fault. It's nothing like that. Don't worry about that. Nothing like that at all. Nothing like that at all. All right, let's go ahead and go over here to Zoom. We'll go ahead and go over here to Zoom. Now, what we're going to need to do here is make sure that we have a couple of things here straight. You're going to need to unmute yourself, and you need to start your video for us there. So please make sure you unmute yourself. There you go.
Mr. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Okay, and this is Mr. Elijah X on here.
In the house, man. That's funny because last week I was listening. Now I support you. I support you, man. I support you and Tariq and the rest of the guys, Vicky and Professor. I know last week you said that Biden wasn't going nowhere. Didn't you say that? You said he wasn't going nowhere?
Yeah, these are, y'all, I want you to understand something. The ADHD children and the crack babies who can only remember 4 words of a sentence. Sir, sir, it's time for you to be quiet. These old niggas are already humiliating themselves. Time to be quiet. Sir, okay. Did you miss the entire first 20 minutes of the broadcast tonight? Clearly you did.
Yeah, I did. You did. No doubt.
Probably because you were over there getting drunk.
You explaining? You on point about that.
Probably because you were over there getting drunk. Probably that. So I just want you all. I wanted you all to see the folks who short attention spans didn't hear it, didn't listen, or anything. So I just wanted you all to know the caliber of intellect who says these things.
Don't let him tell the narrative because he was wrong. He mad,
sir. Literally, you just said you missed the first 20 minutes of the program. Which I'm pretty sure I'm sure he missed that along with a whole lot more. By the way, brother, I'm very glad to see that you're on point about things. I was waiting to see if your barber was going to be equally on point, and very clearly, along with your 3rd grade education, your barber is taking your life off too, taking the rest of your life off also. So it's just, there's a whole bunch of folks in your life who haven't shown up. Now, sir, once again, if you've been listening for the last couple of weeks, I literally did an entire program about George Clooney where I explained exactly where things had changed. I said the Moneymen have turned against him. I did that whole program specifically to beat the drum that, wait a minute, this is bigger than politicians now, because you don't need the backing of voters if you got a whole bunch of money behind you. George Clooney going public. We covered this in the first 20 minutes, which, by the way, if you put the E&J down, you would have been here for the recap of that. But if you listen to the program that I did, then if you actually listened to it, then you already heard me say all of this weeks ago. The Moneymen pulling out, yeah, that changes all the math, because now they're threatening his financing. And if they're coming out openly and threatening that, that's going to be a very, very difficult thing for him to undo. And that's when I ended up by saying the only way he's going to leave, you'll be able to get him to leave if you're going to give him a bag. Because if you're not going to pay the campaign, you're going to have to pay him off to get him to leave. Otherwise, his incentive is to stay in, to be a spoiler in the race, and to disrupt the convention in August. That you don't have any leverage without that. So if he knows he's going out, what's his motive to get out on his own? We're going to pull the money in the financing. That's not going to be enough either, which is why I said, you missed this also. Go back and listen to that clip. Go back and listen to that program I did about Celeb Civil War, where I said, we're after the Kennedy assassination, we're never going to find out what happened when they assassinated Kennedy, and we're never going to find out what they actually did if Biden drops out of this race. But I predict what it will probably be is one day we'll hear, yeah, they had to give him a bag to get him out because his primary concern is his son. As long as he's in the White House, he can protect his son. If you get him out of the White House, he doesn't have anybody who'll be able to guarantee that for him. Unless, of course, he gets a big bag, which, go back to the program, I said these exact words, Obama can write a book and Obama can do speeches. Biden can't do either one of those to get any money. So if he gonna get a bag, he got to get it now before he leaves. So I said all this when I was in. My prediction is if that's the case, he's going to have to get a big bag and he's going to sit up here and give a game face right up until the very end. And then out of nowhere, okay, I'm leaving. And that's why yesterday I really got some real negative vibes yesterday. That's why I started the program when I said, well, he's saying that he's going to be here next week. And then I did a whole program saying, but 30 more people just said, we pulling out. And that's why I did my program last night. Are the Dems pushing him out? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah, they want him out.
But
he's killing his political party.
But the means for doing so was not losing the support of other politicians. That is not what did it. Where it turned, where it changed, where the mathematics changed is when the Moneymen started piling up and saying, yeah, we got better things to do with our dollars than give it to you. And they said it openly. So they sent, now we realize what happened. They sent George Clooney out there. It's like, okay, dude, you're going to be the first one. But my point was they sent George Clooney through the door first. You're going to be the first one through the door. I'm like, why was George being so bold to do this? He's so bold to do it because he's already talked to the other donors. And they've told him, we're going to do this, but we don't want our fingerprints on it. So you do it and you're already retired from Hollywood. You do this and we're going to back your play. And he was the first one through the door. He had little to lose. He's not going to be making any more movies. He's still going to be from ER. And that's it. So his Hollywood career is over. If it wasn't over before 2 weeks ago, it damn sure is now. But he was willing to do it. And now we know why.
Can I throw a question in there? I was listening to something today. Did you hear about I was listening to Donald Trump. I listened to his campaigns. Elon Musk, Donald Trump was saying, and I think it was the Milwaukee campaign, Elon Musk donated money. He supported him $45 million a month. And I'm thinking that's for the next 4 months. He said, and he wasn't joking. He said $45 million a month.
I'll believe that when I see it. Elon Musk is prone to post or say anything to get attention. He's proven out over the past 5 years. No. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, sir, let me try this again.
Go ahead.
Elon Musk was the one who posted that that's what he was going to do. Donald Trump then responded to it, sir. So Elon Musk didn't send him a private email. He announced to the world that that's what he was going to do. And Donald Trump is simply repeating what Elon Musk already said. So Trump didn't break no news. Elon had already said this. He had said it days before Trump said anything. To which I say to everyone, I'll believe it when I see it because Elon Musk. Remember, Elon Musk said he was going to leave California and move his headquarters to Texas. That's what he said during the pandemic. Then he announces, we changed our mind. We're going to stay in California. And I did a program about that. Now he's come back again in another election cycle, announcing that he's going to move back to the headquarters back to Texas again. So as I said, Elon is prone to say anything just to get attention. Please remember, no offense to everyone out there, Elon is literally on the spectrum. He's literally on the autism spectrum. Everybody knows he's got autism. He's prone to I'm not saying that it's a fact. He does. He's prone to say anything, go after any tangent. So I will believe that he's got taxes to pay and he's still got Twitter bills to pay and Twitter loans to pay. So I will believe that when he does it. I'll believe it when he gives it.
One more thing, Jay. What about Kamala Harris, man? Because I know you said some things last week about her. You know, like you said she wasn't going to be on the ticket or something. I don't know. What do you think about this chick? She can't be good for anything, right?
Kamala is going to make her run for the White House because she has absolutely no choice. I've talked about this in the last couple of weeks. For a guy who says he listens to me, he sure doesn't remember anything. I already stated this about Kamala Harris, but let me take this as an opportunity to reiterate it. Kamala Harris has no choice but to go for the White House because otherwise her career in politics is over. So it is one thing if you make president and that's a capstone in your political career. If you don't make it to president, then your political career was essentially short-circuited. So she has no choice at this point but to go for the White House. Otherwise, what she's conceding is her political career is over. She has already stated as of today that it looks like she's going to go ahead and do that. Folks have said things, but I'm going to wait to see about another 48 hours to see if they stand by it and start acting on it. But so far, it appears she's going to make her play for it. However, as of what we've seen today with that California contingency and Barack Obama, they are not on her side and they are not backing her.
Yeah, he didn't say anything.
Well,
and she got a
he said something. He just didn't say anything about her. That's the difference. Right. So calm down. What I am predicting is going to happen at this point based on the limited amount of information going on. We need to wait a little bit longer, but all signs are that she's going to run because she's going to have to. She has all the advantages because legally you can't take the money from her and go dump it to somebody else. All the donors will basically have to double down on everything they've done the last 6 months and give it to her, give it to whoever they want to go against her. So you can't really take that money from Biden and give it to somebody else. She can use it, but you can't really take it from them, their campaign, and just give it to somebody else. So she's got the advantages where that's concerned, depending on how much money is left. She's also got name recognition and a bunch of other things. And I think that the rest of the folk really realize that you got the odds against you if you attempt to take the reins from her anyway. So the odds are against anybody else. She's definitely a lame horse herself. But if you're going to go down, why would you allow that to happen? So I think there's some irrationality going on. I think there's some folks who want to throw a Hail Mary, but I don't think that's the reason for doing it. I think the reason is that they were not big on Biden to begin with, and they did not want to give him a chance to put together his own political machine, which if you give him another 4 years, he would have had a good shot for doing that. They're derailing the machine now. They want Harris to go to the convention so that they can nominate her there, and then let her lose. The election.
I'm sorry. Who's a possible other?
I don't see a possible other.
No.
I don't see anybody who you could put in that position who will be able to do any better. Hell, she won't be able to do as good as Biden would have done. So she couldn't do as Biden, and I don't see anybody who would be able to do better than her. I've said this before, Gavin Newsom doesn't play outside of California. Gretchen Whitmer doesn't play outside of Michigan. Wes Moore isn't ready and isn't qualified. We can go down the list. So there's not really anybody else that you can grab who is going to set the world on fire. You got a bunch of names you can name, but you would have to choose somebody who's going to have more credibility and gravitas than Donald Trump does right now. So It's not about are they bigger than Biden. Biden was already losing to Trump. Name for me somebody other than Harris who could be bigger than Trump.
No one. I really don't see anybody out there at all. I mean, the only name they can come up with is Gavin Newsom at the most, or RFK, I think.
So your best play is to write off 2024 altogether, remove Biden's fledgling political machine, and then prepare for 2028 and see if you can mount a viable candidate then, which means I predict that since California is already asserting itself, look for them to spend the next 4 years trying to put some electricity behind Gavin Newsom and then hoping for the best. All right, let him take the rest of the evening off here. He can get down to swimming to the bottom of a 40 ounce. Let me go ahead and let him do that. Oh, this will be fun here. I've got a genuine Becky. So Always great to have a Becky on. That's good. We'll give Becky a few moments here to go ahead and get that going for us. How could I possibly turn that down? I've got somebody named Becky on the line. All right, Becky, what I want you to do for me, Becky, just for security's sake, I just need you to start your camera. I won't put you on for others to see you, so don't worry about that. However, to make sure that we don't have any trolling issues, I just need you to have that on for me. All right, Becky, well, we've caught you in bed there. Hope we didn't disturb your evening.
Hi.
All right, Becky, and what is on your mind?
I just wanted to hear some news and to kind of see how other people feel about what's going on.
Okay, Becky, let me find out here. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
You look like somebody who is retired in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. You certainly do. So clearly, clearly your ex-husband, the alimony has been good to you, clearly. So
No. Actually, I'm working. I am a social worker and I'm an RN, but
I'm about to say there's nothing but nurses in Florida. So it's just whatever you're doing, there's nothing but nursing going on there. So I'm sorry the alimony payment didn't come through like it was supposed to. Better luck next time. You're going to get one of them old fellas out there on the beach. So better luck next time. Okay, well, what do you think of what happened today?
It was very disappointing, but I think that in the end, it's his decision. I'm a Democrat. I'm voting for blue. I'm in a red state and I'm praying to go blue. When I moved here in 1989, it was blue.
Okay, well, you're saying vote blue no matter who. So, as a looks like a Irish lady, am I close?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right, well, let me find out here. Why are you voting blue no matter who? Exactly what's your motivation? What do you like about them?
Well, I think it's important. I'm a social worker, so I have over 25 years of understanding how services are rendered and who needs it and why people don't get it. And also how good plans look on paper, and then to activate those plans, what the pitfalls are, and why the pitfalls are there for certain reasons. And I guess I'm a social worker at heart.
Okay. Well, let me find out here. What specifically is it that you don't like about DeSantis?
I don't think that when you touch books and ban books and introduce ideas into my child's brain without him having the ability to critical think, then I have a problem for you. I have a lot of personal problems with him, his feelings about women and all of those things, which I think are despicable. But I do not want you to control my child at school. I want my child to go to a library and see everything there in the library for him to choose what he wants to read. I don't want anyone else choosing what my child has access to.
I'm glad to hear that. Does that also include teaching them that they're transgender in school?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm kind of a unicorn in my county, in my state where I live. I live here because my family lives here, my extended family, but
of course.
Yes.
But here's my thing about it, though. I mean, I found that to be interesting, though. So you don't want schools telling your children what they should be thinking or not. You also don't want the schools telling your children what their gender is or not.
Correct.
But that would be the blue folks, wouldn't it?
No, I don't think.
Really?
No, I don't. I think it should be my doctor.
Well, yeah, but my point is what you said about kids in school. Your issue with DeSantis, so you don't want him censoring books because you don't want the schools deciding what your children should be able to learn or know. Okay, sounds great there. I mean, but in being consistent, that means you also don't want them telling about what they should think about books. You also wouldn't want them trying to discuss your children's sexuality with them either, right? And you already said yes, and I'm like, well, wouldn't that, just out of curiosity, that would be the Democrats doing that? And That's certainly not. That's certainly not.
How so?
That's certainly not DeSantis. I mean, about as far as discussing whether or not your child, discussing with your child, hey, little Billy, are you transgender? That would be the Kamala Harris and friends. That would be them.
Okay, but how?
Let me find out. Did you not know that already?
Well, I wanna see more of. I wanna ask you a question.
Okay, whoa. Slow down. You can ask me a question here in just a moment, but I do need to get an answer to that one first before you ask your question. So let's not bypass that. Are you saying that you did not know that the major platform of the Democrat Party for the last decade has been discussing transgenderism with your children in school, that they don't have to get the parents' permission about pronouns?
I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so you are not okay with the school telling your children what books are appropriate, but you do believe that it's okay for the schools to discuss your children's sexuality or being transgender with them.
No.
Okay, you're good. You just said it was.
No. So
please pick a side, Becky. I know it's hard, but please pick a side. It makes it easier.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is whether my child is transgender or not has nothing to do with their education. If it was brought up in a learning or a conversation where people were going to share their views, I'm down with that. My child's a sperm donor baby, and he's known that from day one. So if my teachers have questions for him, he's 13, he's already navigated that on his own. The truth will set you free. And if he wants to have a conversation, that's fine. But based on his situation, would he have access to education? That's when I'm like, whoa. No.
Well, yeah, but if you don't trust the schools or DeSantis to be able to decide what books they should read, but you trust them to have those kind of conversations with your children about their sexuality at a time when they're most impressionable.
Their schools are not deciding what books they should.
No, I mean to even. What I'm saying is to even host that conversation with them. You trust the schools to host a conversation or engage in a conversation with your child about that subject?
No. I don't think people should engage in every conversation with 13-year-olds. I'm not saying it goes all the way. So I guess what I'm saying is for the schools, I think teachers should be able to choose the books based on literature, not based on people's current morals or values or ethics. The reason why they choose literature has to be for the education.
Right, but to the other thing that we all get that about what your stance on the books is. What I'm saying though, that's contradictory if you're saying, oh, they shouldn't have a say in about the books, but about discussing with my child, hey, do you feel transgender? You're like, well, that doesn't bother me. And I'm just saying, just be aware that's kind of a contradiction.
Okay, I beg to differ. I don't understand, like, when you have a question about my child's gender, is it for having interest in the subject, or are you going to make decisions based on what my child says?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that if you're saying that you don't trust the schools to decide which books should be appropriate for your children, you would think common sense. What you're saying is you don't trust their judgment in that area.
I do trust the schools. I don't trust the DeSantis and the crowd in Tallahassee that far away. They're not educators. Educators are not making those decisions. And that's why I have a lot against him. If the people who are local in our schools are going to make decisions, they should be educators. That's what I'm saying. I don't want DeSantis to say certain books about history or references to history have to be taken out because it is, they want to wipe certain histories out of our schools. I'm not down for that. I think all of the books that are donated and purchased by schools should be.
Does that, let me find out, does that
have.
also include books that discuss minors having anal sexual relations?
Well, I don't think that schools have enough money to discuss books like that. And I do not feel like a child under the age of 18.
That's a yes or no question. Does your view on books not being off limits also include the ones that are discussing that?
Well, I don't think that, for example, pornography, I don't think.
Okay, well, but if they tell you we have a YA novel written by an LGBT author where they talk about their sexual experiences, their first time with a man at 12 years old, do you think that's something? Do you think that's something that if the educators in Florida approve of that and the governor says no, I don't approve of that, who should we go with?
I guess what I'm saying is, I think that if it's there, I want all books to be there, and human beings, including
the kind I just said about minors. I just want to make sure I'm not taking you out of context. You're saying that including books about minors engaging in sexual activity, you think that would be acceptable too?
Well, it depends on who's reading it. If it's somebody who's reading what their personal experience had been at that age, it's like Judy Blume. 2024. Why not?
Okay, let me try this again. No. Let's just say you have your 10-year-old son in elementary.
13.
Okay, your 10-year-old son in elementary school, and they've got a book in there written by some 57-year-old man who says, "Hi, I'm gay, and I want to talk about my life experiences." And he's talking about his first time having anal relations when he was 12 years old. You think that would be? Stop, ma'am, stop.
No.
Okay, slow down. Okay, ma'am, let's not overtalk the host. Let's not do that. You seem like a good.
Those aren't the books that are in the school.
Actually, yes, ma'am, there are. Actually, yes, ma'am, it is. That's not true, man. What you just said is a lie. That's false. Even in Florida. As a matter of fact, that's also in Florida. Literally, what this means is you haven't Googled any of this. But I'm not asking about whether it's in school or not. I'm asking, do you approve of that? Or do you think that that's a book that if the educators say that that's legit and the government says, no, that's not, who would you side with? The school that says that kind of book or the government?
Educators always.
Even if it's a book being given.
Educators always.
Even if it's
educators always. I'll tell you why.
Slow down. I just want to make sure. Even if it's a book about anal relations with minors, you would still side with the school giving that to minors to read.
Well, is it a minor to another minor?
No, ma'am. Okay, you just said it was the school. The school librarian puts that book on the shelf at the elementary school. Do you approve of that book being on the shelf available to elementary kids to read?
Yes. Why not? Yes.
Okay, where are you from originally before you came to Florida?
Washington State.
Okay, you were born in Washington State?
No, I was born actually in California, in San Diego.
She was born in San Diego, and how did you end up in Florida?
I know. It was an accident. My parents got a job, so I had to move down here with them.
Yeah, but then you got down there, and when you came of age yourself, why didn't you leave?
Because I was very attached to my two sisters and their families.
Okay, but that's your sisters. What about yourself?
Well, I'm very attached to my family. And so I decided to move here. And when I was 40, I decided to have my son because I wasn't able to get married in time and do all that. So I understood if I was going to have a child, I like for them to be around their family. So I've always stayed with my family and around them, which is kind of my family heritage. We always do that.
Okay.
My parents were very open. My father was a German Jew. My mother is Irish Catholic. They were married for 49 years before my mother died.
Oh, there's an interesting
And
couple.
so they lived through the 60s. They did a lot with Martin Luther King, and they were already out of college, but both of my parents were very into human rights and people's rights and things like that. And so I would say neither party will I agree with 100%, but I think that humans have rights to decide things.
Okay, well, let me find out something here. Have you ever had a girlfriend?
Yes, I have.
More than one?
2.
Okay,
Is
just 2?
That's right.
Okay, how did you like that?
It was good for me. It was human experience. Why not? They were both nice people, very nice people.
Did you marry them?
And no, I have not been married.
Could you imagine marrying another woman, though? Could you imagine that? 2 women in the house. Could you imagine that? Just as a guy, I try to think to myself, if 2 women married each other, they see what it's like for us. I don't think y'all could do it. I don't think you all could marry another woman. I think you would appreciate us even more if you tried it. Believe me. Once you have a chance to do that, then do you appreciate men more now? I bet you really appreciate men more. And it's like, wow, I tried that, and I really like guys are a lot easier. Don't you think men are a lot easier to get along with? Be honest, Becky. Be honest, Becky. Come on. It's just you, me, and it's just you, me, and a few thousand people.
There are people on a spirit level. I think the vessel that you're born into can do whatever they want. And on a spirit level, I'm not, all this or all that. And I don't think that people can be that strict, because when something happens in your home, something happens in your family of origin or in your family that you create, you kind of have to do the best to not hurt other people and to move in freedom.
Have you ever dated a black man before?
Yes, I have. My high school boyfriend. Any other questions, my dear?
That was it?
I dated a Korean man when I was in college.
That'll
and
count.
Believe me, there's not a lot of Asian people in South Florida. He was a lovely man.
That does not count. No offense. That does not count.
Lovely.
I'm just talking about, as far as black men, you only dated one in high school. You're in your 40s or 50s now? That's a long time.
Okay. All right.
I had
in high school, Mr. Man.
Who did I date in high school? As many as I could. It was not easy, let me tell you. Now I was a bookworm in high school. So for the most part right there, I was busy developing myself. However, I'm glad I got out there to see that. So in the next election.
Have you ever dated a man?
No, ma'am. As I don't want to date nobody bigger than me, stronger than me, hairier than me. I'm like Cat Williams. Women are delicious.
Okay. Do you think that people are born gay, or do they decide that they are?
Well, if you're going to ask that question right there, I have no problem answering that, but people are conditioned into that. Biology says everything you need to know about that. So if you take a look at any prison, you can see that people's sexuality is conditioned.
I live in Palm Beach County for so many years. And since 1989, I'm not conditioned to be a Republican.
But you left California as quick as you could, and you ain't trying to go back.
I was seven.
You're a grown woman now. You ain't trying to get on the first. There's planes leaving to California every single day out of Miami. You could be on one of them, and you have a skill. You have a skill set that works wonderfully in California.
But let me tell you something. Humans, if you do things only for self-serving reasons, you're going to be alone. Sometimes when you make decisions, you have to make a decision for people that are more than yourself.
Becky, do you believe that somebody's mind, you want to keep an open mind, but do you believe that somebody's mind can be so open that their brain falls out? Becky, have you ever heard the phrase, have you ever heard the statement that you keep an open mind, but don't have a mind that's so open that your brain falls out? Have you ever heard that statement before?
No, but okay. I feel sorry for people who don't have open minds. I think it's important for everybody to hold dear to what their customs and what there is. But I urge everybody in the public to go out and live life. And when you're down,
Becky, have you ever? I'm just curious. When you wrapped another woman's thighs around your face, did you ever feel like my head doesn't belong here? I'm just curious, just between you and me. Did you ever get that feeling for just a moment? My head doesn't really belong here.
Not how I think.
Okay, because that's what I would think. I'm just being honest. I would think that so right there. Like, how did my life end up here?
So I'm here on your show because of my ability to think out of my own views. And I'm often trying to find other views. Like I watch all different kind of TV. Just because I'm upset with what one news person says doesn't mean I'm going to say goodbye to the whole team.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's a good one there. How do you feel about reparations?
Reparations. I don't know a lot about reparations. I'm down for it. I have some great ideas for the government if they ever ask me. I think
okay, well, I'm asking you.
Yeah, I am totally down for it. How we get the money, I agree with taxing the very, very wealthy 1%.
No.
Because I think we need to have them pay as many taxes as I do. Everybody has to pay taxes in order to play the game of life in this country. So I don't believe that because you go to the side or the back and you ignore what everybody else is doing, then when you're on hard times, you want to have Social Security disability and sit there and collect it and not, you have to pay into it. We pay into the programs. Nothing's given to us. We pay into those programs, and those programs keep a lot of us afloat. And not everybody is
how much in what do you think the amount? What do you think the amount should be?
Fiscally, I don't have enough information to even have that discussion. Well, but who
do you think it should go to?
People are not born on this planet with the same potential, the same abilities. We need to take care of our old and our young, and we need to take care of our people.
I get that, but I'm saying who should reparations go to? Who should it be for?
Well, reparations have to do with the people who were enslaved. Hello. That's the reparations that I'm talking about. I also, listen, you want to kick it back a couple decades? I want reparations for not being able to own land and not be able to vote after 1920. I'm a woman. Do I want reparations? Yes. I want it for the history that I had to suffer. But I would be willing to stand back and let enslaved people get reparations, because guess what? One person wins on the team, everybody on the team is brought up. You can't just be on top. Who's going to be on top with you?
Okay, Becky.
You have to let other people advance.
Becky, and then that's such a wonderful name too, Becky. It's just, all of us should come with a name that encapsulates our existence. Becky, as a white woman, if I may ask, if I may be so bold, as a white woman, what have you done without? I'm just curious.
Oh,
what have you been deprived of as a white woman?
I've been deprived, but I also don't believe that you have to be deprived to have interest.
Right, but I'm asking what? Okay, but I'm asking what? What have you been deprived of as a white woman?
I've been deprived of a lot of things.
I'm listening.
Well, I was pretty hungry when I was in college.
Nigga, please.
Yeah. But I was lucky. Guess what? My friends asked me over for dinner. My sister came down for 2 months and helped me because I stayed with her, because there were 2 months where I couldn't do things that I needed to do for myself. So she helped me. That was 2 months over, 30 years ago. She helped me when I needed the help. And then from there on, I could take it. The thing that people have to understand is, if you only think that it's a very small, in my opinion, that you have to literally experience everybody else's life as a spirit and as a human on this planet to have the ability to think about how we can help other people. You don't have to have heartache. It jumps you into the ability faster, but you don't have to suffer.
Becky, have you ever tried, how do you feel about legalizing marijuana?
I'm down for that. There's a lot of bad rules that incarcerate a lot of.
Well, then forget incarceration, though. I mean, just as far as recreational drugs, and like, what do you think about legalizing all drugs, like they do in Amsterdam? What do you think about that?
No.
Oh, not everything.
Well,
okay.
I don't think it's helpful because I am a nurse. I have personal feelings about the scientific, it alters your mental and emotional ability to handle your job, to handle your whatever it is that you're doing, raising children, picking up the mail. It alters your ability to interact with other people. I don't think you should have chemicals, just like I don't think you should be drinking a shot of whiskey at work, right?
Okay. What do you think about
how
do you feel about the 20 million illegals who've been let into the country?
I'm down for that. I think that we need ways to better track. I think we need to better hire enough people so that the people who are trying to process illegals are there. And the more people you have working in that area, the more you will have each person who comes to our country is appropriately interviewed and appropriately let into this country. I can tell you that that's my grandparents walked out of the Holocaust literally. They were lucky. Okay. They came here on a ship. They settled in Manhattan.
But they didn't just sneak across the border.
Right. But
so shouldn't there be some rules that you you can't just walk into somebody's house. That's squatting.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be rules. I'm talking about increasing the infrastructure so when you actually make rules, it doesn't just look good on a piece of paper.
But you're right. But until then, what?
It has to be operational.
Just because you're not happy with the current rules in place, that's understandable. But does that because you're unhappy with the current rules in place, that gives you a license to break them, especially in somebody else's country?
I don't know. I don't know what it's like to live in Central America.
Right, but I do know what it's like when you break into somebody's country.
Hold on. I don't think that these humans who are coming to our country are making that kind of a physical trip and dying along the way because they have a choice.
Right, but
humans are trying to survive.
Right, but what I'm saying is that shouldn't they be so you don't think they should be required to honor those rules, especially when it's not their country?
Of course, but it's our responsibility to put an infrastructure in place that can handle the rules that we are drafting.
So you think that we have a responsibility to non-citizens?
It's like you can have a great idea. Excuse me. Sorry.
So you think we have a responsibility to non-citizens?
It's a human. We have a responsibility for all humans. African Americans were not considered humans.
We were also not immigrants either.
Well, but you're not considered a human being during a certain point in history. That is wrong. So I consider all people human beings, and everybody's human experience is worth caring about.
I don't think you can cover everybody else under us because we didn't do anything illegal. So once you start doing things that are illegal, you're kind of compromising your rights. You have a right to do everything except do illegal things. Wouldn't you agree?
What I'm saying is there was a wonderful.
Okay, well, slow down. Wouldn't you say that you have a human right to do everything except illegal things, right?
Well, you know what? There are certain things. If people are running for their lives, I am not going to judge you. I'm going to say, I'm here to give you food and water on your journey.
Okay, and if somebody just says that I came to America and broke into the country because they pay more here than where I came from. I wasn't starving, but I came here to come up even better. What do you say to them?
I think if you have enough people in the infrastructure to interview each person, you can't have laws and then staff with zero staff. You can have those conversations with people in an honest way if you have enough staff to sit down with each person and listen to their human story. If you don't listen, you won't hear. Okay. And if you don't hear, you won't learn.
Well, Becky, you've been a very open-minded person. I want to thank you for calling in because you've been a very open-minded person. I think we got a lot of insights about this. I was curious about one more thing, though, here. And please don't take this the wrong way because I am very, very serious in what I'm about to ask. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. I'm not playing. And I hope you don't take offense at this here. You've been very, very open-minded. You've done a lot of living. You've experienced a lot of things. I'm curious here. Have you ever had a foursome? And be honest.
That's out of bounds. And not.
No, ma'am, I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. I am deadly serious right now. Have you ever had like a threesome or a foursome? And there's a reason why I'm asking.
No.
I'm shocked. I am surprised. I am astounded. I don't believe that.
What? But listen, everybody has free will and can make choices. But because you're an open person, doesn't mean that you'll just take anything that is served up to you.
Yeah, but you strike me as the kind of chick who will experiment with everything, including 3 or 4 dudes grabbing ankles and wrists. And I find that hard to believe that you did everything else and that was just, that's off limits. That's out of bounds.
I think that is a very basic human response.
For everybody else, yes. For Becky, I'm surprised.
What I'm saying is no, because then people are not just all this or all that. People make decisions and they are making decisions and hopefully with information and critically think. Just because you're open-minded doesn't mean that you're going to go for anything. How you treat yourself is very different than how. I don't care even if you are. Like, I don't care what goes on in your bedroom. It is not my opinion.
She's not bothered by minors reading about anal sex, but she draws the line to the foursome. Okay.
Because you can gather information, you can read things, doesn't mean that you have to experience everything. There is something called learning through other people. And talking to other people, you don't have to have every type of ice cream to make a decision.
Becky, I'm sure you've had. I am willing to go your wager. Becky has had at least 30 of the 31 Baskin-Robbins flavors. At least 30 is this. I'm willing to bet everything I got on just that alone. But in any case, Becky, this has been an incredibly enlightening phone call here. I want to thank you for your insights, and certainly we'll see what happens in November. You certainly have a good evening here. Just fried my little brain. Jason, why'd you have him on that long? Because I thought you all should have some insights into that there. And it's just like, all of that right there. And then she tell you, what I would never. Do y'all believe there's anything she wouldn't do? Do you really believe there's anything she wouldn't do? That's out of bounds. Why? Because I stumbled on the obvious. Do you think there's anything, is there anybody in here who believes there's anything that she would not do? Do you really think she's inhibited about anything? Come on now. She just don't want them bones to be falling out the closet, but if you believe that, all right. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Regina here. All right. Hello, Regina. Where are you calling us from?
Hey, Jason. I'm calling you from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
All right, Regina from Grand Rapids. Turn your speakers off there, Regina. I'm hearing myself.
Okay, so where do I turn it off?
Oh, Lord. If you got the YouTube player going, you need to turn it off.
Regina, I'm hearing myself. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay, well, this newfangled technology. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out here. Regina, I'm trying to... if you got YouTube playing or something, do you have the YouTube player on your computer or something going?
Yeah, I do. Should I turn that off?
You would just turn the volume off, I guess, or pause it or something.
YouTube player on your computer or something going? I'm gonna just turn it off.
Okay, she's like, okay, is it up here? There's a little button up here.
Okay, is that better?
Okay, I guess we'll find out here in a moment. All right, yep, that was it. All right, at least I hope that was it. All right, Regina, what's on your mind? Okay, that was not it. I'm
yeah.
still playing. What'd she say? That miracle ear is not working there.
Okay, I'm just gonna turn this off and see what happened.
Okay, try that and see.
I'm still.
Okay.
I'm hoping that stopped.
Okay, I can't see you.
All right, Regina, that's okay. You can hear me. I'm just as annoying verbally. Trust me. All right, what's on your mind?
Oh my goodness, so much, Jason. First of all, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you just for being you and educating us and keeping us in the loop. And you're doing a good job out here. And I really appreciate, your videos, your especially the race war. And I did have a question for you about that. Do you think that with this election that we're going to see full manifestation of the race war?
I mean, not any more than you've already seen. I mean, it's already in full swing, so it's not like it's going to get worse. You're already in the middle of it, so it will continue as previously scheduled.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Trump was here in Grand Rapids Saturday, and that's where he had made that statement that the brother was talking about that Elon Musk has sent. He says he used the present tense. He sends me $45 million a month.
Well, Trump is imagine Donald Trump lying about something or exaggerating something. Imagine that.
Right, exactly.
Impossible. Could never occur.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, what? Seriously? And it was just like a comedy show to me. I mean, he had me cracking up, but then at other times he made me very angry, when he was talking about the critical race theory and talking about he wanted to get rid of that. And, that just made me angry because this right wing, they call themselves, well, they're actually Christian nationalists, but they call themselves Christian, but they do not want to repent. They do not want to cut these checks, and that makes me very, very angry, and I think when I think you had told someone to ask a question, what do you think of reparations in principle? I think that was a challenge that you had given us to ask people one day. And so that's what I've been doing with my my African friends, the immigrants. I've been doing that with my European associates and colleagues. And wow, I'm getting some very interesting answers.
Good. And that's the real thing right there, is asking questions that actually get to real answers. And just like with Becky, don't allow them to sidestep it. When you ask a question there, you make sure they address the question you asked and don't dodge around it, and don't because sometimes people dodge around things, they get you off on another tangent. It's like, okay, they evaded what you said and they said something even more stupid. Now you go off chasing that. It's like, no, just stay stable there. And then if you need to go double back to something else, you do that. But you ask those questions to get to the heart of it, and then you find out what's really going on. In the meantime, though, I mean, Trump is doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's in Michigan. That was a state that he didn't do very well in. So he's certainly He's certainly showing what he's thinking about. He's focusing on basically, I think what the strategy he's using is that instead of trying to branch out to other people, he thinks that what he needs to do this election cycle is the wind is at his back. So if he can get the Republican base to turn out in super numbers, that he thinks Biden and the Democrats are unenthusiastic and their base is unenthused, and we are. And that the Republicans, if they can get theirs to be ultra excited, that's how he's going to win. And certainly that has gone against conventional wisdom of the last probably election cycle, skip over to Obama and them. But I mean, there is a line of thought that substantiates that. If he's just like, hey, look, I'm just going to try to rabble and get the right wing base out there and get them super energized. And if they show up in good enough numbers, I won't need anything else. How well that bodes for 2028, I don't know, but I don't think he's thinking about 2028. I think Donald Trump is thinking about 2024, and that is it. He's not thinking about anything else. He's not thinking about anything beyond that, and that's all. In any case, I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I just wanted to say that what the question that I get in return is, well, isn't that the past? Isn't that the past? And then I have to go into a whole teaching mode of how a post-traumatic slave syndrome, and the emasculation of our men and the rape and the pillage of our women, which have given us the strong Black woman syndrome. And, when I see people like Van Jones, it just makes me ill, And so, I just wanted to say that, I am 70, so I've been out here for a while, and I've called you on the business before. And I just want to say, keep up the good work, and that you do have people on your side, even some of these old niggas. So,
well, thank you very much, Regina. I definitely appreciate that. You take care. Let me see if I can get Kevin. Let's see if we can go ahead and get Kevin up here on Zoom. Give Kevin a moment here to go ahead and see if we can get that up and going for us. Matter of fact, let me check and see here. Let me get back over here. For those of you who are just now joining us or missed something or whatever. So, yes, we've been talking about Biden dropping out of the race and give some folks a chance here. All right, Kevin, let me go ahead and get Kevin to Kevin. I need you to just go ahead and make sure we don't have any trolling. Just go ahead and turn your camera on for me, Kevin. I won't turn it on for everybody else. You have 5 seconds to get that black screen off of there, Kevin, or permanent vacation, whichever you prefer here. All right, Kevin, there you go. All right, sir, and what's on your mind?
Just appreciate you having me on. I listen to you all the time. And I just had a question about the Black vote with Kamala. Now, I was watching Instagram earlier, and Tiffany Cross, you know who that is, and Angela Rye basically came out in their night clothes, like didn't even get dressed, like hair not done, saying that, okay, Biden dropped out. It's time for Black women and Black people to come out and support Kamala. It's Democrats versus Black women. Black women have been underrepresented. All this. Angela Rye, Joe Biden dropped out, but I'm happy that he endorsed Kamala. On the other side, I'm seeing NBC and Fox News talk about Pelosi and Schumer, the Democratic top guys, are looking for somebody who can win key states. They really don't care if Kamala is the nominee. And like you said earlier, I just heard that earlier, Obama's not even coming out and endorsing Kamala. So what do you think that Black women, the question is, do you think Black women will still come out and vote and be enthusiastic if Kamala is not the nominee, if they jump over her and pick somebody else?
Well, that's going to be very difficult to do. I think they have a vested interest in trying to impose on that. So I think that's really the only real avenue that they would have to try to get some support. So would Black women be less enthusiastic? Yeah, I think they'd be less enthusiastic. But by the same token, I don't think that Kamala Harris is going to make them super enthusiastic. She didn't get it done in 2020, and she hasn't been doing it before now. It's not as if Kamala Harris super energizes the base or super energizes Black women. By the way, a few hours ago here on CNN, just to give you all an appraisal here, the Biden-Harris campaign has amended their Federal Election Commission filings, and they have declared Kamala Harris as candidate for president. What? So it is official. The Biden-Harris campaign is officially saying that they're declaring her as candidate for president. So we will see how that goes. Just in case you all were wondering here, Biden has already started changing the paperwork over to her name to the extent they can. So basically, he's going to put them, this is what I meant right here for those of you who didn't understand. So now the plot thickens, and Biden is basically going to put the party in a bit of a bind. Right. So they're going to go to the convention, and he's basically going to be daring them not to back Kamala. He's basically going to force them to not do it, which puts them in a hell of a bind. So if And this is, I want you all to understand, I've always talked about power dynamics. So for those of you who listen to my other broadcast on YouTube, this is power dynamics here. So if Biden can't be given the nomination, he's going to force them to pull it away from Kamala. He's going to force you to have a convention where you all gang up on her and take it from her, knowing what this will do to the party's support at the base if they do that. If Kamala wins by some really long stretch of the imagination, her only real buddy is going to be Biden. So he's still going to be in the game no matter what occurs if she wins. If she loses, that's one thing if she just loses fair and square. If the party does not back her, then basically it would be Biden's revenge. Now, he would be forcing them to come out against her and go hand it to somebody else who would be a white person. They would be forcing them to take it from her and give it to a white person, knowing what the ramifications of that would be. So now we're seeing how the plot is thickening, and now we're seeing how the game plan's coming together.
So you think he did that for his selfish reasons, not for the Democratic Party, not for black people?
He didn't even get out of the weekend.
Crazy.
So he announces that he won't be and then immediately changes it to her. Oh, so in other words, because remember, that's not necessarily binding yet because it's not binding until the convention is over. But he's now, by doing this, he's giving himself several weeks here giving themselves weeks before the convention that everybody's going to be saying that, okay, it switched over to Harris. Everybody's going to be looking at her and they're going to force you to have a contested convention. He's going to be forcing them to have a contested convention because he's like, okay, we're going to throw our support behind her now, and he's going to force you to come out publicly and the party to publicly come out and say they don't support her. That's a hell of a game of chicken he's setting up.
This might be going at Obama.
Well, since Obama was the one who helped pull the rug out from up under him.
Right.
Is Obama got the guts to sit up here and pull the rug out from up under another magic mulatto? And the things that you said about how does that go down? Will that be accepted? Does this make more of an issue? Roland Martin is going to squeal for a minute, but you all know him. As soon as the convention is over, he's going to be, okay, can I get another check, please? So it depends, though. That's what I was saying. And by the way, didn't I just say this a couple of weeks ago? That this creates a very uncomfortable situation and that 2024 could create a situation where folks sit up here and they're going to be, it's like Bernie Sanders times 5, where folks are going to be holding grudges. So if they do this so publicly to her, you're going to have a contingent of black women who are going to be like, yeah, this doesn't work for us. Ooh. So what it definitely sets up is an environment of some sore feelings that are not going to go away and not going to subside with the convention.
Right. So to make it clear, you said that did he hand it over to her now? Is she the president now, or he wants her to be the nominee?
No. It says that they're amending the Federal Election Commission filings. So they're declaring Kamala Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has formally amended their Federal Election Commission filings and are declaring Kamala Harris as candidate for president.
Got you.
So okay. This is not, Joe Biden is going to stay president until the election. So he's not resigning as president. That doesn't require the Federal Election Commission. You can just walk out of the White House and I'm gone. Deuce, I'm out. So that's not the way that, no, you don't have to go to the Federal Election Commission to say you're resigning. Joe Biden did not say he's resigning. He said that he will not run for re-election. So what that means is he's going to finish out his term as president, and the party has the next 3 months to figure out who they want to have as their candidate for president. Their campaign has changed to say that we're no longer putting up, because remember right now, that's the reason why you have re-elections, is that technically speaking, you don't just get given the White House a second term. So technically speaking, everybody is a candidate for president. Everybody who's on the campaign trail right now, all of you are candidates, including Joe Biden. He's a candidate for re-election. That doesn't mean that he gets it. now what they've done is just say, okay, we've changed our filing that Kamala Harris is now candidate for president. What that also means is there is no vice presidential. I mean, I'm just saying it's the Federal Election Commission filing, so that's all they're really doing is saying that she's the candidate. The Biden-Harris campaign is saying she's the candidate now. So we will see. That puts the party in a precarious situation. So he's basically going to be daring them to take this nomination from her, because everyone assumes that's what the vice president's job is. If the president can't run, or for whatever reason, the vice president takes over. So now he's putting them in a position of forcing them to come out at her the way they've come out at him.
Wow. So there will be no primary, no
primaries.
I guess they say open process come Chicago, the Democratic convention.
Well, contested convention, like I say, you're on your, if Kamala Harris will not step aside, if she wants to make an issue of it, yes, y'all are about to have a big ass fight in Chicago. That's exactly what's going to occur, and she has no reason not to. Now, once again, there is a third rail of thought here, which is that Kamala, if she understands that she can't win, the only thing she could do now is do what Joe Biden just did and stick him up for as much as she can get out of him, because Doug ain't going nowhere. So that would be her only other option, is how big of a bag she can get and how big of a bag she can stick him up for, and that if things don't go her way, she just quietly slinks off. So that would be the only other option they would have. Otherwise, she has no reason not to make this as big and ugly and messy as it can be. She's got no reason not to do that, unless behind the scenes they're letting her know, look here, heifer, you play hard with us, we're going to play hard with you. So they've got all the reason in the world for them to just go ahead and figure out a way to get her to slink off in the sunset, unless she says, I'm not going to do that. So I'm thinking that she's thinking it's now or never. And that would be it. So she's never gonna have as good of a position to make this run as she's got right now. She's never gonna be in as good of a position as she's in right now. So if she's gonna go for it, she got to be 10 toes down and stick with it. Now the real questions become, okay, what happens with Joy Reid? What's she gonna do? But I suppose like the Democrats can do her like Roland Martin. They're gonna send her a kite and she's gonna get real quiet, because she belongs to the highest bidder. But it depends now. If they close ranks and start making a bunch of noise and sister girl, this, that, and the other, that would be a problem for you. That'd be a big issue. But there's a bigger problem for Kamala. Kamala Harris's black credentials have never been solidified. She hasn't. She only is a sister girl during election years. So it just depends on how many are going to go along with that. So I don't think she's in a particularly strong position to push that sister girl line anyway. I'm just saying that if she were, and if she did, that would be the means by which she would do it. Certainly Biden intends to make this difficult for other people. So by filing paperwork this quickly, he's already changed it. He hadn't even discussed anything with anybody. So that means that when he did that this morning, they were already in the process of submitting that stuff and changing it. So he won't do that all in one day. So he's setting up what he expects to happen. So, okay, even if he can't be there, his lieutenant will. And so he'll still have his hands, in the pie on the side. He knows what they're getting ready to try to do to Kamala Harris. What he's telegraphing is he's not going to make it as easy as they might have hoped it would be. By him coming out and doing this early, he's not going to just be a pushover for it.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, it's just black people, we just got to learn the facts and come together and vote. Like you say, get on code, vote as a block. Because if not, we're going to be an outside looking in. That's what it's looking like. Democrats basically taking control.
Definitely, like I say, I think there's so much noise going on right now because of Biden's, debate performance, that's what a lot of folk are going to blame the loss on. If the Democrats, not Biden, if the Democrats lose in November, they're going to try to place all the blame on Biden and say, oh, the black vote was fine. It was just Biden screwed it up. So until we have a clean election where they can't sit up here and make those excuses, they're going to scapegoat that. So that's the only downside about this, is that this will give them another election cycle of denial. And they're going to claim, if we don't show up, they're not going to say it's because we weren't happy. They're going to say it's because Biden screwed up. When in reality, he was already losing. He was already losing the black vote. So if anything throws a monkey wrench in it, that does.
Got you.
So 2024, just remember, this is just round one. Round two is 2028.
Playing the long game.
We have to. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me get, I got somebody here on iPhone. Not really sure who that is here, but for iPhone, let me go ahead and get you to unmute yourself and turn, for security purposes here, just go ahead and turn your camera on for me. I'm not going to put your camera up for other folks to see, but I do need you to have that on. All right, Mr. iPhone, and what is your name, sir?
Hey, what's up, Jason? My name's Sean, calling out of Atlanta.
Okay, Sean out of Atlanta, what's on your mind?
Just really want to speak to the older Black people. Just want to let y'all know it's gonna be all right. I know this is unexpected because the last couple of older Black people I've been talking to about this, they've been in denial about it and whatnot. So I just want to let you guys give some advice or suggestion. When it comes to November, use your numbers and don't even go out there, because this is a lost cause right now. Don't even go out there and vote on November and stuff. Go ahead and set yourself up for the next 4 years and stuff. Get the and demand something intangibles, something tangible. Don't ask for no holidays. Don't ask for no bills about hair or anything. If it ain't pressing about reparations, let them know, hey, we ain't supporting y'all no more. We should take advantage of this moment right here, because honestly, they seen the writing on the wall. Biden wasn't gonna beat Trump. Harris definitely ain't going to be, especially with just 4 months, less than 4 months of campaigning. So your best bet is just go ahead and recruit and get ready for the next 4 years in 2028, and demand something tangible. And if the candidate doesn't come and agree with it or outright endorse what you guys saying, stay at home again. I wish we as Black people would come together and create our own party candidates and go about it that way, because obviously the blue's not for you and the red wants you dead. So that's pretty much what I got to say about that, Jason.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Agnes up here. All right, we'll go ahead and get Agnes up here. Agnes, what is on your mind? Okay, Agnes is staring at the camera all crazy in this newfangled technology.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, Agnes, you're on.
Hi, thank you. Honestly, I know that the Democrats have tanked this one. The Biden-Harris ticket was a 2-for-1 deal. Harris came with Biden anyway. They tanked Biden, he took his payout. Harris will take her payout either before the convention or at the convention. It's a good thing that you brought up Obama and Pelosi working behind the scenes with this. You have to keep in mind that Pelosi is the California and the San Francisco Bay Area political machinery. Keep in mind that Gavin is aligned with Pelosi, okay? Gavin does not get along with Kamala Harris, period. So there's a rift right there. Also, the big money is not behind Kamala Harris because the state convention did not pledge its delegates behind Kamala one bit. In fact, they wanted, the California State Convention had advised to take Kamala off the ticket in 2022 if Joe Biden were going to run, and they had a couple other people that they wanted. So now, 4 months going into the election, you still got the open convention. I call it open season convention because it's back in Chicago, Chicago shootout, if you will. It's going to be messy. The fact that Joe Biden has pushed the line and pushed the Democrats to make a decision one way or another, that is a power move. That's basically a king move. But I don't think Harris will take them to the finish line, simply because, one, we know she's not Black. She hasn't shored up any Black credentials. Two, she doesn't have a backbone. She's not going to stand for anything. Three, she hasn't shown any type of leadership. Four, all of the cemeteries in her closet will come out. And because she's running up against Trump himself, it's not going to be pretty for her or the Democrats.
Well, I mean, here's the issue, because I've heard some folks say that as well. What skeletons does Kamala Harris have in the closet that are not already out there disco dancing bones already?
It's a good point.
I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, we pretty much know everything at this point right now. I mean, what could possibly jump out at this point that would be an issue? I mean, a sex scandal. I'm like, I've been there, done that. It's just we done lost count on that one. So it's just unless there's a literal dead body somewhere, it's like there's not really going to be anything. Any so-called dirt would just be an elaboration on what we've already heard. You know.
I think what has hurt her is more than her credibility with the fact that they can't get the sister girl, black girl magic going. That's not going to happen. Her personal relationship that she had with Willie Brown, I don't think that's a problem. But I think what's going to come out is the fact that two of her biggest donors, being Wells Fargo and AIPAC, when that stuff comes out, if they will let it out, okay? But in California, and a lot of the donors already know this about her AIPAC background and the AIPAC payoffs that she's taken over the years, that may come out, and Trump does know about that. And that kind of stuff coming out, I don't think it would hurt stronger Democrat candidates or people who have good political chops, but propping up somebody like Kamala Harris, who literally did sleep her way to the top and nobody really likes her as a candidate, never liked her as a politician, and no respect from the grassroots. I think the Democrats did themselves a disservice. And, you know, WS always breaks its tools. And she was definitely a tool in the literal and figurative sense. And this is her breaking point. And I think putting her as the last ditch effort on a losing ticket, this is the way that they're going to butt break her. Pun intended.
I think it just kind of was messy here. Look, Biden has already said this week that it was not his intention. You know, he wasn't supposed to really run for re-election, but you know, things were so bad that, you know, I just had to stay here, and I realized how bad it was, and so on and so forth. And I think now folks are just making sure it's like, yeah, when we said one term, we meant that. So, yeah, that's what it's going to be. And you were just supposed to be a stopgap until we could get a real candidate in there. So I think what's going to happen, and it's very early to tell because there's just so much information we don't have now that has been kept from us because that's good politics, I guess. I think that because putting this together, deductive reasoning, the only thing that really would make it make sense is, so Biden was supposed to be a clutch candidate that the establishment could get behind. They weren't going to give it to Bernie Sanders because you ain't even a Democrat. So, okay, let's go ahead and get Biden. He's the establishment candidate, and we're going to pull it out. And, okay, he went ahead and won. Okay, got it. Biden is in office, but we all know what the deal is. The deal is you serve one term, and we are supposed to spend the next 4 years grooming another candidate. Because Kamala has shown us in 2020 that her support is soft at best and non-existent at worst. Biden doesn't do this. Instead of him playing ball and getting together with somebody else and grooming them and raising their profile, he doesn't do any of that. He gets together with Kamala Harris. They double down on Juneteenth. He's running around this, that, and the other. He's trying to get Trump disqualified for contention. But what he's not doing is getting the Democrats another candidate to replace him. Now we get to 2023 and there's nobody in the wings, and he hasn't helped boost Kamala Harris and he hasn't helped boost anybody else either. So that's when it becomes clear he's going to try to run the damn tables again. And that's when they go through the primaries, and it's, well, if you want to call them that, and I'll be damned, he's doing it. So they were telling him before, and then Jerome Powell gets up there. Yeah, we're keeping interest rates where they are. No more big legislation has gotten through. We're not helping you with anything else here. You know you need to be doing something about this political thing. And then when it was time for the debates, they just said, you know what, let's end this. We want to set this up 90 minutes. And the word got sent to CNN, hey, let him hang. Don't help him out. Don't anything. You just ask the questions and that's all. He got out there and flubbed the debate, and they didn't even attempt to spin it for him after the fact. Then the whole media gangs up on him. Then the big donors gang up on him. Now the party comes after him. I'm like, wow, all tied up in a nice, neat little bow. You thought you wasn't going to let that nomination go. Yes, you are, one way or the other. And we're not waiting until 2028 to sort this out. We're sorting this out now. And I think that ultimately, through deductive reasoning, that's really the only conclusion of that series of events that makes sense. That he was told what the deal was, and he decided at the last minute he was changing the deal. And they said, yeah, no, not really. And here we are. And I think he's thrown in one last little gambit to see if he can make that work. Well, let me just boost Kamala Harris. But from what they've shown, they probably don't. They don't want her there either. They want an end to the Biden era.
It's good that you brought up the part about the Federal Reserve and the interest rates part, because that is the key reason why the donors have decided they were not going to back Biden anymore. It really is the economics.
Well, no, I mean, that's not the way that works, because high interest rates are perfectly fine, for example, for bond yields and things like that. So in reality, these people don't just buy stocks, they actually buy bonds. So in reality, this has been very, very good to them. They made a whole bunch of money during this time. That's not what they're going for. What they're going for is that what business wants and requires is long-term stability. That's what business requires. Biden is not long-term stability. You knew Bill Clinton was going to serve 2 terms, and you knew Al Gore's will take over after that. That's over a decade. So for the rest of you, it's like, okay, that's 1 decade. You think about buying a house. For business, that is a good long period of projection you can do. Since we know who we're going to be dealing with, we know who our lobbyists are going to talk to, and we can plan 5 to 10 years into the future without having to make any wild variables. That's what business prefers more than anything else, is stability. Biden doesn't actually offer that long-term stability they want. Kamala Harris certainly doesn't. Biden and Harris would be good politics and terrible business. They want somebody who's going to be good for that. Gavin Newsom would fit in with that perfectly, or somebody like that. So his politics are objectionable, but I mean, he rolls over for big business in California. Just ask Elon Musk. So when you think of it in those terms, that's what the real problem is. They want to know who they can map this out for from 2024 to 2032. That's what they want. And Biden isn't that person.
Exactly. And there is a Federal Reserve Bank in San Francisco.
Well, Federal Reserves are cute and everything, but if you really want to know the government policy, it's not the Federal Reserve, it's the IRS.
Ooh.
Biden went off and says he's going to hire an army of IRS agents specifically to go after the rich and the corporations. Now, if you want to know about the hit, what would be the rationale for putting the political hit on him, that would be it. He gets into his 2nd year and says, I'm going to sick the IRS on all of you. And we all know what that's really for in politics. That's to be his attack dog. So if you ain't playing ball, next thing you know, you're getting audited. And what they've decided is to do him like they did Elliot Spitzer. Oh, you think you're coming after us? Buddy, now we're coming after you.
After you.
And
give him the Spitzer business.
So when you think about it in that regard, no, it's not the Federal Reserve, although those shenanigans over there obviously were a factor. But what I'm saying is that somebody put the reserve up to that. But why did they do it? If you're looking for something, and I'm not sure what it is, there's not enough information, but if I were to speculate about what it was, it'd be the IRS. Not only has Biden not put together any legislation that they really love, now you specifically said, I want to hire an army of agents. I want to crack down on the cash transfer services, Venmo, Cash App. All of a sudden, you done put the financial sector in a spotlight. So no. You got to go. You got to go. We're not even going to argue this with you. You got to go. Because remember, you didn't get the IRS situation that you had by accident. The truth of the matter is, when you call the IRS, and I've had to in the last decade, you're going to be online for an hour. Yes, it is outrageously understaffed and underfunded, and deliberately so. Specifically for the purposes of people who make upper income, the IRS, as you all know, the overwhelming majority of their audits are against people who make $100,000 a year and less. That's the majority of their audits. But it's not because those people were easy to get. It's because they know those people can't fight it. So if you want to start an audit and close it quickly, you go for the low-hanging fruit. You go after businesses. You go after people with real money. They got CPAs and they got lawyers. So you're going to need way more resources to go after them. You want to go after AT&T or Amazon and prove that when they say we don't owe anything in taxes that they're lying, you're going to need 1,000 people to go audit their books. So, and they know that. Well, if you only got 5,000 people working for the IRS, guess what? You don't have enough manpower to go after somebody like that. So when they say we don't owe you nothing, you just say you wind up rubber stamping it. Okay, I guess you don't owe anything because you don't have the resources to audit their books and to find out if that's a true statement. You go hire 100,000 agents and all of a sudden you've got the ability to go do that. Yeah, what we got to do is quietly sweep him on out this dough and get somebody in there who's a little better for business. Because here's the problem. For those of you who don't know how it works, the IRS can go back over your books for 7 years, 10 years if it's criminal. So they can go back over your books for 7 years, but believe it or not, they can go back longer than that if it's a criminal issue. So imagine going back over Amazon's books, Tesla's books, Apple's books for the last 7 years. Imagine opening up a Pandora's box that allows that to occur. Yikes. So if you want my speculation about where that really germinates from, I mentioned the Federal Reserve, but that's the foot soldiers. If you want to know the cause of it, in my opinion, if you're looking for a government cause, look over there instead. Well, Jason, how will we know if you're correct? If we look up in a couple of years and find out that the IRS did not suddenly stopped hiring that many people. That the number that they hired, that's it, they're government employees or they're stuck in there now. But then they decide, we've hired another 5,000 agents and that's it. And all of a sudden there's no more hiring. If that's the cause of it, look for that one. If we can look up the IRS staffing numbers in 2022, and then go look up those numbers in 2026 and see how much difference there's been, don't be surprised if it's nowhere near 87,000. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, Jim Crow Joe has to go and he can take camel toe with him. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me get MB here on the line. Let me see if I can get MB here. All right, MB, I just need you to go ahead and make sure you have your microphone and your camera turned on for me. I will not put your camera on the screen, but just for security purposes, make sure we don't have trolling. All right, sir, and what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Let me mute this real quick here. Sorry about that. All right, yeah. So, sir, appreciate your broadcast here, and basically all your broadcasts covering this here. One thing I'm just leaning back on mentally is what you were speaking on last night, because this whole Kamala thing is really nothing burger for most of us, and how many of us are going to vote anyway. It's not like Kamala's going to, in her first major speech, going to put the fist up, say, yeah, black first, cut the check. She's not going to do that. She's never going to be for us, whatever. So my main thing, though, because one thing you did say that kind of sparked my head was the fact that Democrats will not, they're going to find anything like the, liberal media. They're going to find a way to lean away from the fact that we're going to stand on our ground this election. A good chunk of us before all this happened, a good chunk of us was already leaning away towards voting at all or whatever, or even vote the other way. So one thing I was kind of leaning my head towards is the fact that I want to say I was kind of looking at there's at least 9 states that allows for write-in ballots, and it's just an idea because I was looking at there's 9 states that not only allows for it but allows for no registration for everyone to write in, that they'll get counted. So just spitballing on the fact of, all right, what here in PA is one of those states. What if I was to go in and just write?
Well, I mean, look,
what's
going to happen? What's going to happen is, some folks are going to try some chicanery to try to force, keeping his name on the ballot or something like that. What's going to happen is in any place where they try that, they're just going to run it either through the state Supreme Court or the federal Supreme Court and get that nullified. So, there's some folks out there who might try to stick to the rules. The rules are going out. Even if they're in the right, the rules are going to go out the window. So don't look for them to support that. It's going to stay like it is.
Right. I was more so thinking like with us, those of us that staying on our toes, those of us in those select states, like here in PA, if I were to write in, let's say, I do a write-in ballot for, let's say, cash reparations or something. If maybe enough of us write that in or whatever minimum amount of number that is, that registers as a bleep or whatever.
Well, please understand what registers to them is whatever difference between the previous black vote they received in 2020 and the one they receive now. It doesn't matter if you voted for another party. It doesn't matter if you didn't vote at all. But remember, there's always a natural amount of lossage. You're going to have some of your voter base dies, some of your voter base moves. There's always a natural amount of lossage, and they already take that into account. You already sit up and factor that in. The thing that you're looking for, so they already calculate for those kind of things. What you're looking for, those, if they see it's one thing if you have a 0.5% movement, okay, that's normal. If you have a 4% movement, now that's an earthquake. That's not natural. And you'd be looking for that kind of thing because it was there 4 years ago. You didn't have 4% of your base die. That's not what happened. So please understand, what they're counting is they had those votes in 2020, and it doesn't matter where the votes went. Wow. All they know is those votes did not show up this time. So they're always dealing with apathetic voter bases. How do you get the numbers out, get out the vote? We hear it every election cycle. So please understand, they've been counting the numbers from Obama in 2008 to Joe Biden 2024. They're looking at that. And please understand, is no matter where you vote, if you don't put your vote back over there, that's what registers to them. That right there. Doesn't matter where it goes. They're not counting how many black voted. I mean, they will to a certain extent count, who votes third party or whatever, but they're more concerned about who didn't vote for them. Secondary is how many voted for Trump or how many voted for RFK. So whichever candidate is right-leaning or left-leaning, that's a secondary consideration. Primary is, did the candidate we were looking for here get it? Doesn't matter where they went. He didn't get it. Wow. That's alarm bell number one.
But yeah, that's definitely something to think about there. I was just wondering if it would add any extra. I was thinking if we were just right then on certain ballots, cash reparations, to cut the check or something. But that does make sense as well. I mean, that's one that used to long ago vote blue, whatever. I'm pretty much safe away from that, doing that anytime soon again. So yeah, either way though, I think I'm a plane on that there. I don't have much else. So yeah, appreciate you running that. Definitely keep my vote away from them either way though. So definitely appreciate that, B1.
B1, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, like I say, definitely that's going to be something to keep your eyes on here. I know a lot of folks, it seems counterintuitive, but that's not the way politics work. The Democrat Party has always seen the black voters being sewn up for them. If those numbers do not show up, they immediately go looking for them to see where they went. They either went to another candidate or they went home. But the alarm bells go off because they didn't come when they were supposed to. So even if you sit home on your hands, that's a huge problem. because they don't really have anybody to replace you with. There's where the issue comes from. There's where it comes from. So doesn't matter where you go. If you didn't bring it where they wanted it to, that's an issue. That is an issue. And it's not one that's going to go away easily. Not at all. We'll be monitoring this and keeping our eyes on it here. You're going to be hearing and seeing more about it. Jason, what do you predict now? I predict a very messy convention. Or at least I predict things are going to be messy from here on in. There's going to be a whole bunch of pressure on Kamala Harris now. The pressure is going to be on her to bow out quietly. Although I think that Biden has already talked to her, and if she were going to just roll over, why would you be putting up very clear signs that they're going to have to take this from you? If you were just going to roll over, why would you be doing it like this? So if that's the case, yeah, she's not looking to make it easy on them. I don't think anybody's going to look to make it easy. So be watching that to be the next thing. There's an old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. Not boring days, interesting times. And things are about to get interesting. The Republican Party has never looked more united and more focused, and the Democratic Party has never looked more in chaos and disarray. They've never looked more about it than that. Never looked about it. They've never looked more in disarray than that. So, gonna be an interesting week. Hell, gonna be an interesting season. And we will be here for the whole thing. While we are at it, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. Thank you to everyone who's contributed to tonight's program. On PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, Abigail, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. Shout out here to Mr. Styles, Robert, and everyone else here. And if you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, every holiday, and a few days in between. Click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you have not been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m. Gentrified Race War. Blackchannelfilms.com, that's the place. And if you want to be a part of our new film, 8 a.m., the link to our crowdfunding is in the description. You still have time to go ahead and join that. So I recommend you go ahead and be a part of that as well. Big things happening out here. Big things coming. It'll be an interesting season. All eyes will be on us before it's over. Trust and believe that. And all eyes will be on you. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncommon.